I had a bar left over from some other work from the Perth Mint, so I melted it down with some MAP gas. You can see I flipped it over and melted it again. I'll get it one more time. It has this nice eggshell and then some lumps on the other side. So to get rid of that, I give it a good hammering. Basically make it into a rectangle. Looks pretty good. So I anneal it with some propane and run it through the rolling mill. And then I roll it out and anneal it several more times. This is where I about decided to stop, right around 2 millimeters. You need a nice clean end to work with. Just rounding it up. And I cut the joint. Clean up the ends. And then I'm squeezing these together. So you can tell I'm trying to squeeze them back and forth to make them mate with just the spring of the metal. Back and forth a couple times, and then you kind of squeeze them past each other, and then you let them come back, and they should kiss a little bit easier. Okay, you need them to be really, really close touching for that fusion joint to get solid. As you can see, the dust kind of sits on top of the joint that's already physically touching. We'll get there. So I'm using a titanium clip to hold the work. And I put some 24 karat gold dust on top. And then I just hit this with some propane. And the whole piece heats up. And the dust melted. I flipped it over on its side to do it again. Then a quick quench in some water. You can see the bulbous quality of that joint. And take it down to the file. And take it down on the inside as well. It's structurally sound now, but it's very annealed. So from like my other video, at this point you could just crush this with your fingers. So now it's time to size it up. Give it some texturing and really give it that strength with the work hardening. That joint will also kind of take a beating, and you really know whether or not it's solid at this point, because the joint will fall apart if you didn't get it. And so that first couple hammer strikes on that joint it'll pop, and then you'll know you gotta do it all over again. At which point you would just, refuse it. You don't really need to cut anything out. But I'm happy with this because it worked first try. That's why I kind of give it a couple rounds of melting and then reforming, is just to make sure that all the gaps on all the sides are kind of fused together. So after my first initial fusing, it was kind of like a little loose on one side, so I went and hit it again. So started around a 3.5, 3.25, and it quickly opens up because it's annealed. Flatten it out on the anvil. Take some of that texture down on the sides because it's pretty sharp after you hit it. And then I take some of the extra texture down with the brush wheel. So I think this piece came out really well. It's a 525, so it's pretty small. It's a pinky ring for me, but it's very comfortable on the inside. It polished up to a nice texture. It's pretty substantive because it is a little bit more than 3 grams. It's got a nice high sidewall. The joint is definitely holding up, and it only contains gold, so it's gonna last forever because it's chemically stable, you know? So I really had a good time with this. I'm feeling like I'm getting better, I'm getting faster, I know what to look for. I'm really happy with how this came out. This is going up on my Etsy. Yeah, I'm asking a ridiculous amount of money for it. So, there you go. It's priced by the weight and how much time it took me. Thanks for watching. Aldi makes some pretty good chai.